Well, I've just stopped for a bite to eat, so I thought while I was sat here, nothing's happening in particular at the moment, I thought I'd go through what I'm using. Out on the River Severn, just down from the main Tewkesbury weir, there's a lot of flow out in the central channel, and it's coming through quite coloured. It's pushing through a couple of miles an hour. I'm sat in one of the slacks just off the main flow, over about 8 to 10 foot of water, shallower in towards the bank and underneath the tree line. And literally, I've just pulled up, and this is one of the areas where I go to my spinnerbaits. The reason I love spinnerbaits when it's like this is it's coloured. Still a bit of visibility, about a foot or so down there, but what I can do is drop a spinnerbait out and just bring it back nice and slowly, bumping the bottom, looking to see if there's anything around, pike, perch, zander. That's the absolute beauty of using spinnerbaits. They'll take virtually anything. Anyway, let's have a look in the spinner box. Right, here we go. I tend to take a couple of boxes out with me. This time of year, they're virtually all double bladed willow blades. Reason for that, just grab one out of the box. 2 willow blades. Now the beauty of these is they don't hold you up in the water, so they'll drop through the water column nice and fast when there's a fair bit of flow around, and they'll go down to where you need them to be, and then just a nice slow retrieve and just literally bumping them back across the bottom. Near enough as weedless as you get. I love them for actually investigating what's down there. Now, one of the things that I do to make them easier to fish, they're always open, the wires, which is great if you're tying on fluoro, but when we're using a bit of wire and a clip, it'll slide up and down the arm. All I do is literally pop on a good old-fashioned float rubber. Just literally slide it on, and then that way I can just pop the clip through, no problem. Much easier than using wraps or tying braid round or anything else. Just literally slot on a little bit of rubber and that stops it moving. The other advantage at this time of year is there's still lots of fry around, and a lot of the fish are feeding on them at the moment, so again it's why I like using the willow blades. All the ones in this box, every single one, I think are virtually all willow blades. I'll bring the other ones out for different locations, but it's just the willow blades. They'll fall through, they don't hold you high in the water. It does look like you're bringing back a shoal of fish, so you know, you're giving them what they're actually feeding on. The other choice then is down to colours of blades, colours of body and colours of skirt. A lot of it is down to the conditions on the day. I'll probably start off with a bright yellow, but almost definitely I'll end up back on a nice black one by the end of the session. Lots of different coloured skirts, different weights, so as once I'm down there I can go a little bit faster, or I can slow the retrieve down. There's just so many different things that you can do with them. Anyway, I'm going to clip one on, have a cast around, and we'll be back with a bit more film in a minute. Right, here we are again. Changed my mind about the yellow blades. Gone for one with like a goldy silver, red and orange skirt. And if you noticed, there's a little trailer hook just clipped on to the back of the main hook. A little bit smaller, nothing dressing it. It's just there to grab them as they swipe and miss it. Anyway, so dead simple. Chuck it out, let it go all the way down to the bottom. There we go. I just waited till my line went slack, and then just bringing it in with the flow, nice and steady, giving it a couple of taps and jerks as we come. They can just literally, you can do it with a straight retrieve, but just throwing in the odd little flick every now and again definitely seems to make a difference. I'll quite often get a hit immediately after I've jerked it, as soon as you start to straighten it up. The other thing is as well, I do tend to jig them when I get back to the edge of the boat. You'd be surprised again how many times you get hit doing that. So that was casting up into the flow and a faster retrieve. What I'm going to do this time is go across the flow, try and keep my line up quite high so as there's not too much drag on the line from the flow. Let it go all the way down, nearly there we go, about 12 foot out there. Nice and steady, I can feel it bumping the bottom every now and again, which is what I want. I'm right down on the bottom trying to entice a zander or a pike if there's one down there. So just nice and slow, and I'm letting the current pull it around as I'm retrieving it. So it's doing a nice big arc all the way across. I can change the position by just casting 2-3 foot further to the right, so further downstream, and it'll just swing it around that little bit faster. If I cast more upstream, it'll come down with the flow, so there won't be as much pressure pushing the lure or the line round, so you get a relatively straight retrieve. Obviously when you're coming back to the boat, it does rise up in the water, so what I try and do is slow the retrieve speed right the way down, so as it's right down by the bottom when I get back to the boat. All I've done this time is a straight cast straight down level with the bank, and I'm coming back directly against the flow, so I can do a very, very slow retrieve. The blades are really working. I don't know if you can see the end of the rod tapping around there, but literally you can just see it working. The flow is getting those blades driving round, lots of clattering going on down there. There's not a lot of sunlight today. If it was bright sunlight and clear water, I would have darker blades on. What I don't want is the pike or the zander is just about to hit the lure. The sun catches the silver blades and all it does is scare everything off. But you can just see it just working downstream slowly, upstream hardly any movement. Look at the blades working, flashing away. Lovely. Attracts them in and then bang, they hit the skirt. Well, hopefully that's the theory anyway. Let's see if we can get one on the hook. So we'll be back with you in a moment or two. Well, we've managed to get a little zander on the spinnerbait. Not going to bother with the net, we're just going to swim in. Going a little. There you go, look, straight through the nose. Literally, that's where you get them 90% of the time, straight through the end of the nose. So we'll just pop him off. Here's my micro barb. Not the biggest zander you'll ever see, but it's still a zander, and he's very annoyed because look how he's doing his gills. Come on you, straighten yourself down again. He's not very happy with me. Whoa. There we go, we'll throw him back.